You desperately trying to build an AI agency, but your clients look like this when they see your automations. Does this sound familiar? I've been selling AI solutions for over 2 years now, built to companies, and the only way for you to find financial success in the industry is to make your automations and agents deliver this type of the results to the clients. So now I will explain how to make your first hire that will help you to make more money and grow faster without focusing on development. It doesn't matter if you are an agency looking to sell AI solutions or a business looking to integrate them into your workflows. In this video, I will cover both. Let's first talk about agencies. You have four main options. The first one is partnership with developers or other agencies. The partnership, opportunity can be divided on three subcategories. The real partnership. Real means you are actually partnering with someone on a revenue share basis. So when businesses are going to deal with you, they are going to think about your agency as a one solid unit. So you're not going to divide the pricing based on the certain criteria that you're going to, transfer to your outsource or other teams that you can potentially work with. So it is obviously faster to scale because you are dealing as a one solid unit, and it's easier for the businesses to interact with you. A really good representation for this specific use case is when you have experience with marketing, sales, or you understand how to get clients through the doors. You need someone on the fulfillment side. When you understand that you are ready to actually share the profits from the deals, your best bet would be to partner with a team, because the second one would be to partner with an outsourced team, which is a bit different. Outsourced teams are different because you are transitioning the work to them, even though the communication still can be done through your manager or through you directly. Because the third option is the referral system, when you are sending the clients to your potential, network of partners. I am not saying that one is better than other. It just depends on who you are. For example, as I said, if you have a very deep understanding of the business problems that can be potentially solved by the AI solutions within the industry that you understand, now it comes on how much volume you can drive. Because if you can drive a huge and enormous amount of volume, not only in one niche, but in multiple niches, a referral system is great. It might seem like you're acting like an actual SDR who is, constantly getting you new clients, and you're not extracting the whole value from these clients because you are transitioning these clients to the referral partners, aka to other agencies, and you get your cut. But I would not say that this is the least profitable or the least scalable opportunity to make money in the industry, because there are so many ways how AI can be applied. And if you think about this, it is very hard to build a solid team, even if you're partnering with the outsource, agency, or you're actually partnering with someone full-time who's gonna share their revenue with you and cover the entire spectrum of possibilities. So a really good use case for something like this is, consultancy industry. So the guys who have been consulting other businesses for quite some time, they can continue doing that and following this path, having the network of AI developers, outsourced teams, and agencies who they will route their clients into, and then just get a percentage of the cut. Now, if you are willing to build an entire business within the industry and you want to focus on one specific niche, I would say you should either go with a real partnership or with an outsourced team. Now, so there are quite a few different ways how you can get the potential partners for any of these scenarios, but I would say AI automation communities like Skool, Discord, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn groups are the best option. Now, what is untraditional way of getting the partnership is the actual cold outreach. It seems like the cold outreach is designed for someone to promote the services. But if you think about this, there are so many people who post content on LinkedIn every day, right? They are, sharing the knowledge, they are sharing their clients, their wins and stuff. So you can reach out to them proactively yourself, trying to offer partnerships, and you will have a very, very high response rate because you're not selling anything. And I would say in this case, you can go with something like Dripify or HeyReach, where you can automate the actual process of the outreach. Now, this is, a whole separate topic for the discussion, which is the LinkedIn cold outreach, which I am not a big fan of when it comes to selling AI agency services because it is a bit tricky. But when it comes to the partnerships, it's great. I would say you don't even need to personalize your offers. You would say that, hey, I have X, Y, and Z. I'm looking for the development partners. And it's very hard to imagine how many agencies, either, outsource agencies, the agencies that are, working full-time with their clients and ready to take more clients as their referrals, or even people that are ready to get on the partnership with you are struggling to get the clients. So if you can fix this for them, it's really good. Now, it could be like a referral fee or it could be a revenue share. There are no fixed salaries because these are actual partnerships. Now, the second option is to hire a full-time in-house developer. I am pretty sure that a lot of you guys are interested in this specific topic. This is how I scaled my agency first to $10,000 after, I started to get the traction with the cold emails, because this is the most straightforward way. So you have two main options. The first one is to hire A+ players, and the second one is to hire B players. Now, I'm gonna say controversial thing. Maybe this is the reason why I'm still not making $1 million per day, but I like to get B players and make them A+ players. But it is not the only or the best way to do the things. So let me explain why. By the A+ players, I mean the developers that have a very good understanding of not only the no-code tools, but also on the onboarding, fulfillment, client satisfaction, and retention. Because if you're, partnering with someone, or if you are hiring someone like in this case, you need this person to actually then build a team within your agency. So they need to be skilled in that. And of course, these guys cost a lot. Again, it's hard to say what is, the specific kind of price range that we're talking about, depending on the country, depending on the industry and your situation. But I would say $1,500 to $5,100 per month is the range that you can plan for. Now, this is like a lot. I would say that even if I would try to find an AI development job, even though I don't consider myself the actual proper developer, because I right now have the developers who are, doing this stuff within our agency. So I'm not sure if I would land the 5K month job, but these are the guys that are very skilled. Now, Of course, we're not only talking about all these no-code tools. These guys will have a pretty good experience, full stack into the full stack or the backend or the front end development for, the proper applications. Just because the industry is, still relatively new, all these tools are still the same, and there are more things that needs to be done if you're building a proper, scalable, production ready solution. Now, the B players are a bit different. Now, let's put it that way. There are so many new players and developers coming into the space because the barrier of entry is very low. So they are trying to learn the tools, and they are trying to build a business within the space. So that is why in general it is hard to find good people. Now, if you are at a certain stage, if you already landed a few clients, if you already start to think about hiring a developer, you probably understand what I mean. It is hard, okay? Let's put it that way. It seems like it's not, because it seems like there are so many people, as I'm saying, right? So many people trying to climb this ladder of AI success because all the YouTubers like me shield this new AI shiny model as a good model to make the money, right? So the people start learning the automations. They see that, oh, okay, I can learn the make.com, I can learn the n8n, it's not that hard. They start to play around with all these tools. So there are a lot of people coming in. But the difference here compared to any other industry or any other business model that was out there that was hot at the stage is that it is relatively new. And a lot of people that start learning this already kind of starting to build interesting tools, softwares, solutions, automations, and agents. They think that they can build a business. That is why when you come to a guy who is, pretty experienced developer, right? Let's put it that way, with a pretty good, experience, full stack development for the past, 10 years. And now he's transitioning to the AI career, trying to build, an agency in the business here. Right? Again, I was at this place. Guys, I've been talking with these guys. So when you're starting to offer him something tangible within this range, it is not that interesting because they think that they can, build the business within the space. Now, let's be realistic. 9 out of 10 people going to fail. And it's not because someone is good or bad, it's just the reality. This is how the stats work. Most people fail, and especially with such a hot tool, such a hot industry in the niche like the AI. That is why, yes, there are so many people and developers coming into the space, both A players and B players, but it's harder to find them, right? Because they think that they will build an agency, right? So what is your choice? So here it is pretty straightforward. You are hiring the less skilled developer who maybe already tried to play around with different tools. I would say you need to have a few prerequisites when you're searching for someone like that. The first one, he should have the tech background, understanding the Python or JavaScript at least 2 to 3 years. He needs to understand the prompt engineering, aka already being play around with AI tools, understand how to talk with the AI in general and how to build a better prompt. And 3, he has been playing with a few no-code tools. Now, it's very important for you to understand, you are not trying to find a guy or a girl who has extensive experience with, n8n or any other, tool that you're planning to use, high level, voice AI or stuff. You're actually hiring someone who has understanding of the AI, aka prompt engineering, who has the technical brain that will help him to learn things fast, and he C understands how the low-code softwares work with different nodes, connections, and statements, because they're functioning very similarly. So it doesn't really matter which one it is. So you're hiring this guy for $600 to $1,500 a month, and you are learning and growing with him. So compared to the A players, where they know everything and they will be ready and snappy from the day one, you're actually spending time trying to develop this person and trying to make him from the B to at least A, not the A plus. Again, there is no good or bad option. I've been always preferring kind of the B players because I tend to, find them better in terms of the work ethic, especially when it comes to the AI space. Again, going back to the fact that if the people and the person is very skilled, right now he's probably thinking about launching his own agency or the business. Again, we need to give some time, 1, 2, 3 years, they will fail. And then the market will be flooded with all these A+ players that, know how to build anything, but have no idea how to sell, right? That is why I would say you need to focus on these guys. For the pros compared to other opportunities on the hiring and the previous one when it comes to the partnerships, here you have the full control. So you have someone within the team that you can communicate with and you can grow together. So you guys together in this journey within, developing different solutions and acquiring the clients, you're acquiring these clients. This guy is actually fulfilling the job, but you still would need to be involved. If you are not hiring the A+ player, it is easy for your clients to work with you because they are just communicating with you directly if you're starting out. Then when you are, actually at a certain stage, you'll hire the project managers that will have then, developers underneath them that will, fulfill the job. And these developers are connected based on the different projects and the skills that they have. Now, the team loyalty, pretty obvious. The cons is that the recurring is tough. As I said, especially for the A+ players, they are aiming for the business opportunities and it's harder to find them. Costs add up if you are, getting more and more people. Now, again, it depends, guys. I'm generalizing. It's very broad topic to just give you the straight up answers and say that this is the best one. If you want me to, advise you something, you can post in the comments and I'll reply if you, have the situation. So yeah. And the top talent might leave to do their own thing, which is an opposite. So when you are working with a B player, then you're making him an A player, and then he might feel like he will go on his own, right? Again, this is pretty standard thing with the hiring. Now, here is how to find the guys. Now, I already covered the prices here, $1,500 to $5,000, and here about $600 to $1,500. But now, the most important question. You say like, Eugene, so where do we find these guys? Now, I would say for the, A+ players, you would go with LinkedIn, HR firms, headhunters, or referrals. Again, like pretty obvious because these guys are very skilled. They will have, experience like working on different companies. The headhunters and the HR firms will already probably have their resumes, or you can, try to find them on LinkedIn directly. Now, for the B players, it's a bit different. Answer to the question that you probably asking already for the last 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that 95% of you who have been trying to hire already did it. No, you do not need to go to the Upwork or Fiverr. Again, guys, you are hiring full-time employee. You're not hiring freelancer. You're not hiring a potential business owner. You're hiring a development internally. That is why you're not going there. So you can go to the outsourced job boards or outsource HR managers. Now, for example, within our, one prompt license community, we have a few HR managers that we work with that I share with the guys. I would love to share it with you guys, publicly here, but again, I hope you understand, like, they have like a limited number of developers, so it's harder. But this is one of the best ways, because when you're working with the offshore developers, especially if you're starting with a lower tier guys, you need to make them committed. And one of the best ways to make them committed, besides paying them a good salary for their specific market, is to make them contract committed. And this HR guys, HR firms, or the HR headhunters will actually have the entities within their countries. They'll sign the contract, and it's going to be more obligations from that side. Or you can go with the communities, right, on the Discord, on the school, on the WhatsApp groups. Now, for example, I have the WhatsApp private community, which is designed, it's free. I was, if you want to get access, you can message me on LinkedIn. I'll send you the link. But the idea is that we gather there, the business owners and actually the developers. So, and there are a lot of the developers there. So these developers are not necessarily, looking to start a business. And of course, it's going to be on your side to decide and understand what the person is actually looking for on the interview. But it's a really good way, to post something there, to have a form, say, hey, I'm looking for the developer within this price range. This is the form, fill out this form, I'll contact you, then we'll have the interview, and then we will go from there. The third option, if you're the agency owner and if you're starting the agency and want to sell AI services to other businesses, is to do everything yourself or license a solution. Now, this is where you guys, a lot of you are starting out because you don't have funds to invest into the developer. Now, if you don't, like as a side note, if you don't have the funds, or let's say you do have the funds, but you don't want to invest, or you're not sure if it's worth it, I would say it's up to you. If you have a really good understanding of a business niche, of the business environment, of how to get the clients, of how to run the sales, you should look at the partnerships, doing the outreach, trying to find a good partner, or the licensing option. But if you not feel comfortable on the business side of things, yes, so obviously like the only way is to start is to do it yourself. Now, here you just learn the tools, join communities and whatever. So there are pros and obviously, cons, but for a lot of you guys, this is the only option. Now, the second option, if you're planning to do it yourself, is license a solution like the OnePrompt. By the way, the link in the description. Here, we give you the ready, production ready and ready to sell system, agents, and workflows that you white label, customize to your use case, and sell to your clients. So you do not need to spend a month trying to figure it out on your own. You just buy our license, white label it, and do whatever you want. Now you can combine this specific method with the actual full-time hires, where you are hiring a B+ player, then you are getting a license. Now, of course, I'm here, promoting our OnePrompt because this is the most advanced conversational sales system and that provides the value to the business that the business are ready to pay money for. But again, there are some options when it comes to, content generation or SEO generation or, other kind of aspects that you can try to find. So if you find a really good thing, it may be worth it to invest the money one time into this, get it, and again, if you have the time or experience, customize it yourself and then start selling to your clients for multiple 4 figures. Or if you, again, want to focus on the business aspects only, you're getting the license, you're hiring the B player, then you're providing this license, the education and the support to this B player developer. He customizes it for you, and then you are ready to go. Again, guys, so there are pros and cons for each solution. I'm not saying that one is better than other, but these are kind of your options, 3 main options when it comes to the agency. Now, if you are the company, you have 6 options, right? There are more options because the companies are the actual end users of these automations, workflows, and agents. The first one is hire a consultant for AI strategy or scoping. Map out the use cases, recommend tools, build a plan. It's fast, it's easy, and it will give you a tailored map for what you're looking for. Now, these are not developers. And where I recommend to find them is actually YouTube. I think that creators are a really solid option for something like this. Now, of course, creators are different. For example, I am like creator on the YouTube who is talking about AI, but I run my agency. So I would say I am not the best option for the consultancy because I would charge kind of more for this type of the thing, and I'm not like usually doing that even when companies are asking for the consultation or the strategy, just because I have more things, right? But there are so many guys that you can see they're, developing different workflows, testing different tools, talking with different people. Of course, I don't, think and I don't believe that most of them have the agencies, but they're great for the consultancy because they've been seeing and talking and reviewing a lot of different options. They've been discussing the potential AI opportunities with, tons of different companies, developers, and other, entities. That is why they have the knowledge, they have the overview of different potentials. So they can really map out everything for you. Now, I would not recommend you going with them to actually, develop something because they don't have that much experience of, finalizing the projects and making the production ready solution and not just the automation of the workflow to shield the YouTube. But it is a really, really solid option when it comes to just the strategy. The second option is Chief Automation Officer, fractional part-time. Now, I was talking about one of these, opportunities in the space a few months ago on this channel. You can find the video, but the idea here is that you are hiring someone full-time who will review all the processes within your business, try to find the points where and what can be automated, and then hire an internal team within your organization to develop the solutions. Now, I would say that it is, again, same thing. So LinkedIn AI consultants network and YouTube creators is still the very solid choice. Now, we do here work with a few companies that are paying us in the range of $1,000 to $5,000 a month, yes, to actually work on their companies, advising how to hire the internal developers and what the processes to focus on. But usually these are the services and type of the things that would be needed for more larger or enterprise companies. So again, it's up to you. I would say that you've better focus on the consultancy first and then go with these guys. Now, the third option is hire an agency, which is gonna deliver the actual projects for you. They handle everything, scoping, building, delivery, but they are more expensive and less flexible compared to the in-house option. Now, I want to mention the fourth option, which is a developer, and compare them together. Now, the difference between the business hiring an agency and developer, it might seem like it's just a terminology different, but it's not, because developer is usually the only focus on like a certain amount of solutions and not that business oriented. And yeah, sure, you can find these guys on an hourly basis on Upwork, Fiverr, or anything. Agencies are kind of a bit different because they are all over the place, from YouTube to LinkedIn to the actual cold outreach. You can try to see who is reaching out to you and try to interview them. But the idea here is, if you are going with developer, you 100% need either CAO or a consultant, because these are the guys that will tell you what tools to use, what things to focus on, and what specifically you need. Because if you've been ever interacting with technical people, they will and they tend to overcomplicate a lot of the things. Not because they're bad, not because they're like just greedy and wanting to, get your money. Usually it's because they are not that business oriented. So they're not thinking in this kind of the stage development approach, in the MVP, and then the actual pilot version, the prototypes, and then the final solution. They will try to present you the overcomplicated thing that you might not need when you're starting out and when you are on the very first stages. That is why you need someone who is going to hold your hand explaining what to actually choose. But if you are working with an agency, they can be both. So they can be CAO or basically like consultant who's going to do the scoping and then the actual project development. Now, again, agencies are harder to find, right? So I have the agency and I know that we're, pretty unique because we're handling each and every process and stage of the business, even if they have no idea what's going on and what they need. A lot of them come to me and say, hey, we need AI. So like our, board said that we need to integrate the AI solution. So let's talk. Okay. So that's it, right? The developer is not going to be able to handle something like that. And especially if they're, freelancer contractor, it's just very hard to find them. Now, the difference between the actual developer who is the contract and freelancer and the full-time guy is that when it comes to the full-time, you can retrain your team members or hire a new team member who's going to join your team. Now, if you are the business and if you're thinking about integrating an AI solution and hire someone full-time for internal processes, I would say forget about it, because you probably looking for, the range of $2,000 to $4,000, again, depending on where you are. Because even though like here I'm mentioning $600 to $1,500 going back to the B players, but think about this now. If I am an agency, an AI agency hiring the B player, I know what we need. I know the solution. I can spend the time with this developer. My developers can spend time with this developer trying to help him out to get the ball rolling. You don't have this ability. That is why you need someone from an A or A plus team. It's harder to find them, and at the early stages, you don't even understand if you actually need the AI solution or like what's going on. So I would say a lot of people and companies I see get burning money trying to, hire the people like full time for, pretty good salaries. But yeah, it's not the best option. What would be a better option if you're don't want to deal with the agency, right? So you've been burned a lot, okay? You just hate agencies. I would still suggest you to get the consultant or the CAO, but the next step and the next back step is actually upscaling the existing staff member. And this is what a lot of the companies already do. So they have, technical team. You might have a technical team who is handling, your, something within your business. So you will make them learn the tools and learn how to do X, Y, and Z. Of course, it's going to take time. And of course, there are some nuances. But guys, even though I am, selling AI solutions, I'm making money, selling it to the businesses. So I am motivated to tell you that it's very hard to do and that you for sure need to hire an agency. It is not true. If we get, like, let's say right now in 2025, in the second quarter, if you are, we'll pick 100 businesses that can potentially use AI in some way or another, 60 to 70% of them can get away with a pretty simple, straightforward builds that can be done with one or two no-code tools and a few weeks of the YouTube tutorials, okay? That can be done by your internal employees. That is why we're focusing on the higher end solutions that actually deliver the value, monetary value, not the time value, and that are harder to replicate with just a few tools, right? But you need to be aware of this. So you need to be smart when you are choosing someone, either on the partnership side, on the agency side, on the development side, on the consultancy side. It doesn't matter who you are, agency or the actual company. What you need to understand is that it's still very, very new industry. So if you don't have time or courage to explore it yourself, right? And you need more help, not only in the development, but also on the exploration side. You need to be very careful with who you work with, because a lot of the guys right now, as I said, trying to build a business, and I get it, like I respect that, but in reality, most of them will fail, and they will be opened on the job market at some point. Right now, it's just harder to find them. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks for watching. Peace.